All of the views and opinions expressed here are those of the individual speaking and may not be representative of Koenig American. At times, language may be considered vulgar. Listener discretion is suggested.
You are now listening to the Koenig Behind the Wheel podcast.
Who do you think your favorite drifter is to tandem with?
Oh, that's a good one. My local dudes, man. I've been in NorCal for. I was raised in San Francisco, and I grew up here. I started drifting here, and I drifted at Sonoma Raceway in like '04 when US Drift had an event there. And when I came back in 2013, I just met kind of the new generation of the scene up there, and I've been privileged enough to be able to run the drifting program at Sonoma Raceway this is the 5th year, and I love all those dudes. I mean, there's so many interesting builds, and just people come down to throw down. It's wild to think about it. Like I was talking to my friend about this just a couple of days ago, where we have a whole crew of photographers that come out every week that just come out to shoot people, and it's like there's this nice vibe of we have 50 plus drivers every week. We have 10 or so photographers. There's people that just come to watch. There's guys that come out to watch Wednesday Night Drifting every week that don't drift. They just come out to watch. And it's just this cool vibe that through that whole thing, you find guys that you want to put on a show with, and I guess pretty much all the NorCal grassroots guys, I kind of dig driving with them.
So what's one thing people don't know about you? I thought it was interesting what you just said before, but.
Okay. There's probably a few things, and I think, all right. So, fun fact, I sung in the White House in freshman year in high school.
We can stop right there. That will do it. What? So,
no,
all right.
So, I mean, it's funny because when you're a kid, your parents get you into stuff that, and I really enjoyed it, but I went to performing arts school when I was a kid. Okay. And then, that pretty much ended in the White House singing Christmas carols with a bunch of friends.
Get out.
And it was fun. It wasn't, we didn't see a president or anything. We were stuck in a room when we're just entertaining the people that walked by. And,
right.
Halfway through it, you forget the words because you're so nervous, and it was fun. It was one of those experiences. Fun fact, I guess present day that people don't know about me is I work a bunch of jobs. Like some people wonder kind of why are you throwing your money away? And this has been a big change. So I spend about probably about 80 to, let's say 80 is a good guess, 80% of my income on this.
Yeah.
And I work right now 4 jobs to do this, and one of them is delivering pizzas. I deliver pizzas on Monday nights, man.
So listen, if you're a drift fan and you live in San Francisco area,
that's right.
You may want to order a pizza and see if your luck runs in and Farouk shows up with your pizza.
Yep. So that's it's funny because it's I used to be really embarrassed by it, right? And in the past couple of years, I've grown to just own everything I do because it's what makes me me. And people can say whatever they want. It is what it is.
It's one of those things, though, that I think the people that really should be embarrassed are the people that have nothing positive to say or contribute. And then the same respect, if you ask them what they do, they're, just playing video games. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about the guys that run Twitch channels. I'm talking about when you're like, you know what I mean? Like when you don't bring anything positive to the table, you have plenty of time to throw hate at people, but like you don't really have your stuff going on together. I think it's, an incredibly bad use of your time. Like seriously, like.
And that's the thing is if I'm not working, I'm spending time with my family and just making sure I value them as much as I value my goals in my career. So it's, you gotta stay busy. Like, what's the point really to sit at home and do nothing?
Yeah.
Like if you're at home, do research for what you want to be doing and spend time with your family if you're at home, but just to kind of, goof off and do nothing.
But you're out there doing it. Like you're doing what you want to do. Like you're not going to look back and be like, oh, yeah, maybe you'll be like, I wish I would have had a little bit more money. But like, you're never going to look back and be like, I'm really sorry that I didn't, that I went for it.
Yeah, So, it's funny because I think our mutual friend is Joey Redmond,
Yeah.
and he used to always hound me about spending my time well. And that's always rung in the back of my head because I feel that, in some ways, let's put it this way. A lot of people ask me like, what would I do differently? What would I continue doing? And formulating a program, because I was in a unique opportunity where I was the marketing manager of Sonoma Raceway in 2016.
Yeah.
I was running WiseFab USA. I had a lot of dream jobs at one point altogether, and it allowed me the flexibility to be able to run Formula D Pro 1.
Yeah.
And I just funded it essentially myself. And it was, it was a perfect storm, and it gave me that opportunity. And that's probably why I jumped to Pro 1 that year,
Right.
was because I was like, hey, I can do it financially. Whether when I look back in hindsight, maybe I should have, I don't know. I don't know if I should have done anything differently, to be honest, because I don't know if that a perfect storm would have come together. Yeah, changed anything. But it's one thing I do recommend to people is make a plan. And I think every time I have had a plan, I've made huge leaps and bounds. But sometimes I feel like I've been struggling to stay afloat. So there's a fine line there where sometimes you're working so much that it's sometimes it's hard to figure out which way's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But it is what it is. So.
All right, let me hit you with the last question. Your favorite FD car that is not your own?
Oh, that's a good one. Current, right?
I don't care. you can take a stab at anything that floats your boat there.
Yeah, man. I really like Christoph's car if it had a different motor in it. I like Christoph's car a lot. It's a little too heavy. Chelsea Denofa's E46 was pretty dope.
Yeah, it was.
I think that was and knowing kind of Chelsea on a personal level, I really like how he builds, how he thinks of his cars. You know, the idea is make them a freaking rocket ship.
Yeah.
And then if you need to slow down, that's the easy part. But, one problem with my E92 right now is that it is really heavy. It's like ideally 400 pounds. It would be 400 pounds lighter. Right. I mean, my S14, I mean, I'm a bigger dude. I'm 250. My S14 was, hey, we all enjoy good food. But my S14 was 2844 with me in it.
Right.
And my E92 is 32. I think 3220 was our last weigh-in.
Right.
So I mean that's a huge difference. That's a 400-pound difference.
Right.
So the characteristics of cars are really different, and at that weight, and it's to answer your question, probably the two Beamers, which is funny because I'm a big Beamer fan, but I don't know. Yeah. So those two cars. Let's just stick with that.
All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah. There we go.
I think we made it through. I mean, we took our time getting through this one, but it worked out.
Were they supposed to be quick questions? Yeah.
They were. I mean, it's a quick fire, but I mean, listen, it's okay. There's no time limit on this thing, so. Well, I feel bad. All right, so I'm supposed to introduce myself at this point, but I think everybody at this point we'll just skip it anyhow. If you don't know who you are, what you're watching, it's over. Let's see. So. I was going to basically go through this introduction of you. I feel like you've done a really good job at kind of giving people an idea who you are. But listen, you're originally from Poland.
Yep.
You spent the majority of your time in Northern California. Right? You grew up most of your life in Northern California.
Moved to California when I was a year old.
What I like about you is I think that for the people that are serious drift enthusiasts, for the people that really have even the guys that are in that NorCal drift area community, they know you well as a staple within the community. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
And yeah, and you listen. You are a Formula Pro driver, FD Pro driver, but you've been Pro driver since 2015.
15 was Pro 2, 16 was Pro 1.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, man, you're also the brains behind the Sonoma Drift right? Like Sonoma Drift is your thing, right?
Well, so I didn't start Sonoma Drift by any means. Lino and a great group of guys did.
Right.
In 2014, they brought me in to help them grow it. I worked with a couple great dudes out in Europe for years with Drift All Stars, Niall Gunner and all them out there, and just learned a lot of cool things on how to make events much bigger. You know what I mean? What is the point of a drift event? The point of a drift event is to entertain people. It's a show. Right. And the fact that it's, right in front of you, and it's easy to watch, it's easy to be engaged are key factors that can make these events huge. And I brought that expertise to Sonoma Drift when they invited me to manage the program. And Lino's still the director. I manage it on a day-to-day basis. And it's a fun program to be a part of. It's cool to see kind of what we did with Winter Jam, where in 2013, Winter Jam had 30 cars, 35 maybe, and with Lino and myself, we grew that into a much, much bigger program that now is, we struggle to find anything larger than that in the world. And last year we've been at about 350 cars for the past 2 years, which is huge. It's fun to just see people be able to have fun and drift on a ton of courses and just be able to enjoy themselves and just kind of stretch their legs and stretch their skills. Yeah,
and it's a good marker. Right after Winter Jam happened this past year, when I start getting calls from, after an event weekend and people are like, man, did you hear what happened with this or just see that or just catch the picture from, and that's what happened after Winter Jam this year. And it was, I think this year really, really, really put it on the map as kind of a go-to event,
Yeah, right on, man. I appreciate that. We are lucky and unfortunate in different regards with the date of the event. It usually rains one day of the event.
Right.
It's kind of been but at the same time on that style of event, you save a ton of tires when it does rain. So
right.
If you've got 6 or 7 tracks to your disposal, having it rain does help things in the long run. And seeing Dean Kearney with 1,400 plus horsepower
right.
at 15% throttle around one of my favorite tracks was brilliant.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's a cool event, and I'm very honored to be a part of it, and I'm glad that people like it so much. So.